You're being controlled right now, and you don't even realize it. Machiavelli knew 7 tactics that the elite use to keep you exactly where you are. This manual was banned for a reason. I'm about to show you the silent weapons they use against you every single day. But here's the thing. Once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. And more importantly, you can start using them yourself. If this sounds like something you need to hear, you're going to want to watch every second of this. Because what I'm about to reveal will change how you see power, influence, and control forever. These 7 tactics aren't just theories from some dusty old book. They're the operating system that runs every power structure you've ever encountered. Your boss uses them. Politicians use them. That person who always gets their way in your social circle uses them. The difference is they learned them by instinct or accident. You're about to learn them by design. And once you understand these principles, you'll never be manipulated the same way again. You'll never be caught off guard by someone else's agenda. You'll never wonder why certain people seem to effortlessly get what they want while others struggle for scraps. The reality is harsh but necessary. Most people are chess pieces, not chess players. They react instead of anticipate. They respond instead of initiate. They follow instead of lead. But the 7 tactics I'm about to share will transform you from a piece on the board to the player moving the pieces. From someone who hopes for the best to someone who controls the outcome. From someone who gets played to someone who does the playing. Tactic number 1. Never appear to seek power. Let power seek you. This is the invisible throne principle, and it's the foundation of everything else we're going to cover. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." The most dangerous people in any room are the ones who look harmless. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. They're compensating. They're trying to convince you of something they don't even believe themselves. Their desperation for recognition betrays their lack of actual power. Real power operates in silence. Real power is patient. Real power doesn't announce itself because it doesn't need to. When someone has to tell you they're the boss, they're probably not the boss. The real boss is the one everyone naturally turns to when decisions need to be made. The real authority figure is the one whose opinion carries weight without force. The real leader is the one people follow voluntarily, not because they have to, but because they want to. This principle requires a fundamental shift in how you present yourself to the world. Stop broadcasting your ambitions. Stop announcing your goals before you achieve them. Stop trying to convince people of your worth through words. Instead, demonstrate your value through actions. Show your competence through results. Prove your worth through consistent performance. Let your capabilities speak for themselves. Let your achievements create the narrative of your power. The invisible throne strategy works because it creates mystery and intrigue around your true capabilities. When people can't fully measure your power, they tend to overestimate it. When they can't predict your next move, they respect your unpredictability. When they can't control your reactions, they work harder to earn your approval. This isn't about being passive or withdrawn. It's about being strategically selective about when and how you reveal your strength. Position yourself as the person others come to for solutions, not the person who chases opportunities. Become the one who evaluates options, not the one begging for chances. Transform from someone who needs validation to someone whose validation is sought. This shift in positioning changes everything about how people interact with you. Instead of trying to impress them, they start trying to impress you. Instead of you seeking their attention, they compete for yours. Stop announcing your moves. Stop posting your wins before they're locked in. Stop trying to convince people you're valuable. Instead, become valuable. Solve problems other people can't solve. Have answers when everyone else is confused. Be the person others rely on, not the person who needs to be relied upon. When you finally reveal your power, it hits twice as hard because nobody saw it coming. Write in the comments, silent power hits different if you understand this concept. But you can't just be invisible and hope power finds you. You need to be strategically visible. You need to control what people see without them knowing you're controlling it. This brings us to our second tactic, and it's the one that separates the amateurs from the professionals. Tactic number 2, make yourself irreplaceable by becoming their solution. This is about creating strategic dependency, and it's far more sophisticated than most people realize. Machiavelli understood that the best way to control someone isn't through fear, it's through need. Make them need you more than you need them, and you control the relationship. But this isn't about being helpful. Being helpful makes you useful. Being the solution makes you irreplaceable. The distinction is crucial. Helpful people do what they're asked to do. They respond to requests. They fulfill existing needs. Solution: people solve problems others don't even know they have yet. They anticipate challenges. They prevent disasters. They create value where none existed before. Helpful people are appreciated when they're present. Solution people are missed when they're absent. Helpful people can be replaced by anyone with similar skills. Solution people cannot be replaced because their value isn't just in what they do. It's in how they think. The most successful people aren't just good at their jobs. They're the bridge between worlds that couldn't otherwise connect. They speak languages others don't speak, not just literal languages, but the languages of different departments, different industries, different social groups. They understand systems others find confusing. They navigate politics others find impossible. They have relationships others can't access. They know things others don't know. They see patterns others can't see. This requires you to develop what I call integration intelligence, the ability to connect disparate elements into coherent solutions. While others specialize in narrow areas, you become the translator between specializations. While others focus on their piece of the puzzle, you understand how all the pieces fit together. While others protect their territory, you become the territory that connects all territories. But here's the crucial part, and this is where most people mess it up. You can never let them fully understand how you do what you do. The moment they can replicate your value, you lose your leverage. This isn't about being selfish or secretive. It's about understanding that your unique combination of skills, knowledge, and relationships is your currency. Guard it accordingly. Share the results of your thinking, not the process. Give them the solution, not the methodology. Provide the answer, not the formula. The strategic dependency model works in 3 phases. First, identify the problems others avoid. Every organization, every relationship, every social group has problems that nobody wants to deal with. These problems persist not because they're impossible to solve, but because they're uncomfortable, complex, or require skills most people don't want to develop. They might involve difficult conversations, technical expertise, political navigation, or emotional intelligence. These avoided problems are your opportunity. Second, become the only one who solves them. Don't just fix the problem, own the entire process around that problem. Become the person people think of when that type of challenge emerges. Make your involvement seem natural, inevitable, necessary. Create systems and processes that revolve around your unique capabilities. Position yourself as not just the best solution, but the only solution. Third, never teach anyone else how to do it. You can delegate parts of the process. You can train people to handle routine aspects. But the core insight, the key relationship, the critical knowledge, that stays with you. This isn't about hoarding information out of selfishness. It's about maintaining your strategic value. The moment you make yourself replaceable, you become replaced. Tactic number 3, control the emotional temperature of every interaction. This is psychological dominance disguised as social intelligence. Machiavelli wrote, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved." But here's what most people miss. Fear isn't about being aggressive. It's about being unpredictable. It's about controlling when you're warm and when you're cold. It's about emotional temperature regulation that keeps others in a constant state of seeking your approval. The most powerful people are masters of emotional temperature. They can make you feel like the most important person in the world one moment and completely irrelevant the next. Not because they're evil, because they understand that predictability is weakness. When people can predict your emotional responses, they can manipulate your emotional responses. When they know exactly how you'll react to any given situation, they can engineer situations that produce the reactions they want from you. But when they can't predict you, they have to respect you. When they don't know which version of you they're going to encounter, they prepare for the best version. When they can't count on a specific emotional response, they work harder to earn the response they want. Unpredictability creates respect. Emotional variability creates influence. Temperature control creates power. This is about strategic emotional variance designed to maximize your psychological impact. You're not being moody or unstable. You're being strategically responsive to their behavior and performance. Warm when they exceed expectations. Cold when they disappoint. Neutral when they meet the baseline. Never let them know which version they're getting until they've earned it through their actions. This keeps people on their toes. It keeps them working to earn your approval. It keeps them wondering where they stand. And when people are wondering where they stand with you, you have power over them. They invest emotional energy in trying to read you, to please you, to predict you. They spend mental resources on figuring out how to get the warm version of you instead of the cold version. Most people think emotional consistency is a virtue. They believe that being the same person in every situation is a sign of authenticity and strength. It's not, it's a liability. Emotional consistency makes you predictable. Emotional predictability makes you controllable. The person who is always nice can be taken advantage of because people know they won't face consequences. The person who is always aggressive can be avoided or manipulated because people know what triggers them. But the person who controls their emotional temperature strategically, who rewards excellence with warmth, punishes mediocrity with coldness, and maintains mystery about their internal state, this person controls the room. They set the emotional tone. They determine the energy level. They decide the psychological atmosphere. Everyone else reacts to the temperature they set. Practice emotional temperature control as a deliberate skill. Reward excellence with warmth, not just verbal praise, but genuine emotional connection, enthusiasm, engagement. Punish mediocrity with coldness, not cruelty or abuse, but withdrawal of warmth, reduction of enthusiasm, decrease in emotional availability. Never let them get comfortable with your response patterns. Always keep them slightly uncertain about which version of you they're going to encounter. This uncertainty creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, the most powerful form of behavioral conditioning. When people never know when they'll receive your positive emotional response, they work harder to earn it. When they can't predict your moods, they become more attentive to your needs. When they don't take your warmth for granted, they value it more highly. The fourth tactic is the most dangerous one, and it's probably being used on you right now without your awareness. Tactic number 4. Know everyone's secrets. Reveal none of your own. Information is the ultimate currency in any power dynamic, but most people completely misunderstand how information warfare actually works. They think information gathering is about being sneaky, about eavesdropping, about manipulating people into revealing things they don't want to share. That's amateur hour. Real information mastery is about becoming the person others want to confide in, need to confide in, can't help but confide in. People have a fundamental psychological need to tell their secrets. They need to unload their burdens. They need someone they trust to validate their experiences and fears. They need a confidant who can help them process their anxieties, their frustrations, their ambitions. They're looking for someone who will listen without judgment, understand without criticism, and keep their confidences without betrayal. Be that person, but be that person strategically. Become the vault that everyone wants to deposit their secrets in, but never become the open book that everyone can read. This creates a massive information asymmetry that translates directly into power asymmetry. When you know everyone's pressure points, motivations, fears, and desires, you can navigate any social or professional situation with supernatural accuracy. The art of strategic listening involves several sophisticated techniques. Ask the right questions, not invasive questions that make people defensive, but thoughtful questions that make them feel understood. Questions that demonstrate genuine interest in their perspective. Questions that invite them to share more than they intended. Questions that make them feel like you're the only person who really gets them. Listen more than you speak. Most people are so eager to share their own thoughts, opinions, and experiences that they miss the opportunity to gather intelligence about others. While they're talking, you should be collecting. While they're revealing, you should be remembering. While they're confessing, you should be cataloging. Every conversation should leave you more informed about them and them less informed about you. Remember what people tell you with photographic precision. Names, dates, relationships, fears, ambitions, resentments. Everything is potentially valuable intelligence. What seems like casual conversation today might be crucial leverage tomorrow. What appears to be meaningless gossip now might be essential context later. Treat every piece of information as potentially strategic. Never ever betray a confidence. This is non-negotiable. The moment you violate someone's trust, you lose your credibility as a confidant. Word spreads quickly about who can be trusted with sensitive information and who cannot. Your reputation as a secret keeper is your license to collect secrets. Guard that reputation more carefully than you guard the secrets themselves. But while you're becoming everyone's favorite confidant, guard your own secrets like your life depends on it. Because it does. The moment you become an open book, you lose all leverage. The moment people know everything about you, you have nothing left to trade. Your secrets are your power. Your mysteries are your influence. Your privacy is your protection. Create deliberate information asymmetry. Know everything about them. Let them know nothing about you. This doesn't mean be cold or distant. It means be strategically revealing. Share enough to seem human and relatable, but never enough to seem vulnerable or predictable. Share your victories, never your defeats. Share your strengths, never your weaknesses. Share your conclusions, never your doubts. Share your confidence, never your fears. Information flows to you, never from you. Questions come from you, answers come to you. Curiosity goes out, knowledge comes in. When you control the flow of information, you control the relationship. When you know their secrets and they don't know yours, you hold all the cards. You can predict their behavior while remaining unpredictable yourself. You can understand their motivations while keeping your own mysterious. Type vault if you understand the power of information asymmetry. If you're getting value from this, there's a whole playlist of advanced tactics that builds on this foundation. But first, let's talk about the tactic that separates the players from the played. Tactic number 5. Control what people think before they think it. This is perception architecture at its most sophisticated level. Before you enter any room, any meeting, any relationship, you need to control the story people tell themselves about you. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Your reputation arrives before you do. Make sure it's working for you, not against you. This is about narrative engineering on multiple levels. You're not just managing your image, you're designing their thoughts. You're not just controlling what they see, you're controlling how they interpret what they see. You're not just influencing their opinion of you, you're shaping the framework they use to form that opinion. Most people react to perceptions after they've already formed. They try to correct misunderstandings after they've already taken root. They attempt to change minds after those minds have already been made up. This is backwards and inefficient. The master of perception works upstream, not downstream. They shape the context before the content. They frame the conversation before it begins. They set the expectations before the performance. Plant the seeds of your competence before you demonstrate it. This means strategic positioning of information about your capabilities, your track record, your expertise. Let others discover your strengths naturally through carefully orchestrated reveals. Create situations where your competence becomes obvious without you having to claim it directly. Engineer scenarios where your value becomes undeniable through observation rather than assertion. Never directly contradict someone's perception of you. Guide it instead. Direct contradiction creates resistance. People don't like being told they're wrong about their judgments. Instead, provide evidence that leads them to correct their own perceptions. Give them experiences that naturally shift their understanding. Create moments that organically change their opinion. The most successful people don't tell you they're experts. They ask questions that only experts would ask. They don't claim to be powerful. They simply act with the confidence that power brings. They don't announce their intelligence. They demonstrate it through insights that wouldn't occur to average minds. They don't declare their importance. They operate with the assumption that their involvement matters. Control the story before the story controls you. This means strategic positioning of information, strategic timing of reveals, strategic framing of your capabilities. When someone meets you, they should already have a framework for understanding your value. They should already expect excellence from you. They should already respect you before you've done anything to earn it in their direct experience. This is about expectation management and perception engineering. Set the stage for your success before you perform. Create the context that makes your victory inevitable. Shape the narrative that makes their cooperation natural. When people expect you to win, they unconsciously help you win. When people expect you to lead, they naturally follow. When people expect you to succeed, they invest in your success. Never let reality create your reputation. Always let your reputation shape reality. Control the story and you control the outcome. This requires constant attention to how you're being perceived and strategic action to guide those perceptions in your favor. Tactic number 6. Sometimes winning means letting them think they won. This is the strategic retreat principle, and it's the hardest one for most people because it goes against every competitive instinct. But sometimes the smartest move is to lose the battle to win the war. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." Sometimes that means stepping back when everyone else is rushing forward. This tactic requires a complete reframe of what winning actually means. Most people define winning as immediate gratification, public recognition, obvious victory. They need to win every argument, every negotiation, every interaction. They need to be right all the time, to get credit for their ideas, to be recognized for their contributions. This need for constant validation makes them predictably manipulable. Strategic losing is about sacrificing the trivial to secure the vital. Give them the meaningless victories so you can claim the meaningful ones. Let them feel smart about the small things so they don't notice you controlling the big things. Feed their ego in ways that cost you nothing but position you for everything that actually matters. Let them have the small victory. Let them think they outsmarted you in the moment. While they're celebrating their tactical win, you're positioning for strategic dominance. They win the argument, you win the outcome. They get the credit, you get the results. They feel important in the short term. You become important in the long term. This requires extraordinary emotional discipline. You have to be comfortable with others getting credit for your ideas. You have to be comfortable with others feeling superior in the moment. You have to be comfortable with delayed gratification and invisible wins. You have to be comfortable with winning in ways that don't feed your ego immediately. But the payoff is massive. While they're fighting for recognition, you're accumulating actual power. While they're demanding respect, you're earning genuine control. While they're winning meaningless battles, you're positioning yourself to win the war that actually determines outcomes. The strategic retreat works because it exploits people's psychological need to feel victorious and important. When you give them small wins, they feel satisfied and stop looking for bigger wins. When you make them feel smart about minor issues, they become less vigilant about major issues. When you feed their ego strategically, they become psychologically invested in maintaining the relationship that feeds their ego. Think bigger than the immediate interaction. Play longer than the current game. Win more quietly than they can even detect. The most dangerous victories are the ones nobody sees coming because nobody realized a game was being played. Now we get to Tactic 7. This is the master principle that changed everything, and it's probably the most dangerous because once you understand this, you become truly untouchable. Tactic number 7. Never need them more than they need you. This is the master principle that governs all the others. The moment you need someone more than they need you, you've lost before the game even begins. The moment they need you more than you need them, you've won before you even start playing. This applies to everything: relationships, business, friendships, negotiations, social dynamics. It's not about being cold or uncaring. It's about maintaining your power by maintaining your options. This principle requires a fundamental shift in how you approach all relationships and interactions. Instead of asking, "How can I get them to like me?" you ask, "How can I become someone they need to impress?" Instead of, "How can I convince them to choose me?" you ask, "How can I become the obvious choice?" Instead of, "How can I make them need me?" you ask, "How can I reduce my need for them?" Always have alternatives. This is non-negotiable. Never put all your relationship capital in one person. Never put all your career hopes in one opportunity. Never put all your emotional investment in one outcome. The person who has the most options has the most power. The person who can walk away has already won the negotiation. The person who doesn't need the deal gets the best deal. The person who doesn't need the relationship controls the relationship. This requires constant work on yourself and your position, constant expansion of your network, constant development of your skills, constant improvement of your market value, constant cultivation of opportunities. You can never get comfortable. You can never get dependent. You can never get lazy about building your alternatives. The moment you stop building options is the moment you start losing power. Make your presence a gift, not a guarantee. This means being generous with your value, but protective of your time. Being helpful when you choose to be, not because you have to be. Being available when it serves your purposes, not whenever others demand it. Being invested in outcomes that matter to you, not in everyone else's agenda. This is about abundance mindset and strategic scarcity. You operate from abundance, plenty of opportunities, plenty of relationships, plenty of possibilities. But you create scarcity around access to you. You're abundant in your capabilities, but selective in your availability. You have many options, but offer few guarantees. You're generous with your value, but protective of your commitment. The untouchable mindset means that losing any particular relationship, opportunity, or outcome doesn't threaten your fundamental well-being or success. You're building a life and career that doesn't depend on any single person saying yes to you. You're creating multiple streams of value that don't rely on any single source. You're developing capabilities that transfer across situations and relationships. Weakness is a choice. Strength is a decision. Being untouchable is a lifestyle. When you don't need them more than they need you, everything changes. Your confidence becomes natural because it's based on real alternatives, not false bravado. Your boundaries become respected because people know you'll enforce them by walking away if necessary. Your value becomes recognized because scarcity creates appreciation. This doesn't mean being arrogant, dismissive, or cruel. It means being self-sufficient and strategically valuable. It means being someone others want to keep happy because losing you would cost them more than keeping you costs them. It means being irreplaceable, not because you're the only option, but because you're clearly the best option. And you know it. These 7 tactics aren't just strategies. They're principles for life. They're the foundation of how power actually works in the real world. Machiavelli understood something most people never will. Power isn't taken, it's recognized. Power isn't demanded, it's acknowledged. Power isn't seized, it's granted by those who recognize its presence and inevitability. The invisible throne waits for those who understand that true power operates in silence. The strategic solution becomes irreplaceable by solving what others won't touch. The emotional thermostat controls the room's temperature and everyone else's comfort level. The information vault holds the keys to every door and every secret. The perception architect builds their reality before others have a chance to form opinions. The strategic retreat wins by appearing to lose while positioning for ultimate victory. The untouchable mindset never needs more than it gives, and never gives more than it chooses to give. Subscribe if you're ready to become truly untouchable. Hit the bell so you don't miss the advanced psychological tactics. And share this with someone who needs to level up their strategic thinking immediately. Welcome to the Brotherhood of Strategic Thinking. Your transformation starts now. Which tactic hit you the hardest? Comment the number 1 through 7 and tell me why it resonated with your situation. Also, drop a crown emoji if you're ready to rule like a king in your own life. See you soon.